When it comes to how people feel about his job, Joe Biden seems to have lost more points than the Dow Jones. Every time a new poll is done, the president gets a lower score. Even though the next presidential election isn't until 2024, even Democrats aren't sure if their president is up to the job. Polls might show that America has given up on Joe Biden at this point. Most Americans don't want Mr. Biden to run for a second term, according to a recent poll. The Hill published the results of a Harvard CAPS Harris poll on July 1st, which showed that only 29% of Americans think Biden should run again in 2024. 71% of those who answered said that the 46th president shouldn't try to get another 4 years in office. But the way the country is right now, this number might not be that surprising. Americans' biggest worry on election day is almost always the economy, and things are worse now than they have ever been in their lives. People are finally realizing that we have been lied to the whole time this pandemic has been going on. This seems to be the only good thing. More people are speaking out against the health experiments and realizing that the gas prices have nothing to do with a Putin price hike. So, when it comes to fighting inflation, the Biden White House has nothing to be proud of. Common sense tells us that giving out more stimulus checks won't stop prices from going up. As of now, Joe Biden's most well-known moment happened in a NASCAR race when people yelled at Joe Biden, and he thought they said, "Let's go Brandon." Better yet, look at the sticker next to the price of gas at your local gas pump. It says, "I did that," which is who Americans blame when they go to pump gas. So, you might ask, what made the results of this poll what they were? About a quarter of the people who filled out the survey think it's time for a change. This means, of course, that those who chose this answer are at least unhappy with Biden's performance, his way of doing things, his results, or all of these things. About a third of the people who filled out the survey think he is too old to run for a second term. In November of this year, Joe Biden will be 80 years old. On the day of the election in 2024, he will be just a few weeks away from turning 82. The most telling thing about the survey is that 45% of the people who answered it think Biden is a bad president who doesn't deserve another term. That's a big fall for a guy who, if the reports are true, got more votes than any other presidential candidate in United States history. I don't think people still believe that. The same poll didn't have a lot of good things to say about Joe Biden's predecessor, so it's only fair to say that. When asked if Donald Trump should run for president again in 2024, 61% of people said no. But it's important to remember that they didn't do it for the same reasons as people who don't want Biden to run again. The Hill says that 33% of the people who think Trump shouldn't run again say that he would divide the country. Given how divided the country is right now, that seems like an odd reason. In fact, 28% of registered U.S. voters feel so disconnected from their government that they think soon it may be necessary to take up arms. This number comes from a poll done by the University of Chicago's Institute of Politics and released on June 30th. This was the opinion of 1 in 3 Republicans and 1 in 5 Democrats. People who didn't want Trump to run in 2024 said that the 45th president was erratic and that he was to blame for the January 6, 2021 protests on Capitol Hill. It's not clear why this would be a big deal in deciding whether or not Trump should run for office again, but the media has tried hard to make it seem like what happened that day was a national tragedy, and maybe a lot of the people who took the survey bought into that idea. Still, Trump comes out on top in this survey, and it seems that no one who took part thought he should step down because he was a bad president in general. Instead, they either didn't like him as a person or believed the Democrat story that he stirred up a revolt in 2021. Another poll, done by APNORC on June 29th and posted on CNN's website, found that a huge 85% of adults in the U.S. think the country is going in the wrong direction. There were 92% Republicans in that number and 78% Democrats. This is the most Democrats have won since Joe Biden was elected president. It seems like a large majority of Americans, regardless of their political views, are tired of Mr. Biden, which puts the Democratic Party in a very tough position. A lot of Democrats seem to be trying to avoid the issue, and who can blame them? On the political battlefield, it's not easy to tell your opponents that your general is no longer fit to lead his army. But at some point, something has to give when every new poll shows that a president's chances of getting re-elected are almost none. There will be midterm elections in just 4 months, and then decisions will have to be made about 2024. This is a big chance for Joe Biden and his party to show who they are, do the right thing, and think a lot about themselves. But I wouldn't get my hopes up about that one. The Democratic Party has moved so far to the left that it can't be brought back now. You have the woke people, the alphabet gang, the people who don't like free speech, and the take out your 30-round magazine from your semi-automatic people. How on earth can a politician justify going against a right that was given to us by our Creator and can never be taken away? The simple truth is that you can't. The next few months will be important in history, and I'm not just talking about Joe Biden's next poll numbers. I'm talking about the awesome move of God that will happen on earth when the body of Christ is spiritually refreshed and more people find the courage to preach the kingdom gospel, because now is the time. How do you feel? Now is your chance to join in on this conversation. Leave a comment below or tell us what you think about what someone else has shared. This is how iron sharpens iron. As always, if you found this helpful, please share it so that others can get involved.